Hey, what's up everybody? Hoof here again with another Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial for you. Today guys, I'm going to be showing you a simple way to find your chunk borders. Okay, some of you may have seen this before and that's perfectly fine, but I want to show you guys that don't know already. Okay, the first thing you're going to need for this is you're going to need some leaves. Okay, to do that you're going to need to get a set of shears. Okay, now to obtain shears you're going to have to get iron, of course. Sometimes you can look in the bottom of these water pits if you see any, and sometimes you have to go to a cave to get it. Other times you can go into a village and you can get iron out of a chest there. As soon as you acquire just 2 pieces of iron ingot, you can craft these shears over in the crafting table. And once you have those, you're going to collect leaves from trees. Now, I'm going to show you a simpler way that involves not collecting iron for shears. Okay, so we're going to do that now. First things first is, if you don't have the iron for shears and you want to try to do this, then I suggest you find a forest like this right here. And you guys can see the raid farm in the background there. I did a video on that a little while, I don't know, a week ago or so. But find yourself a forest like this. Okay. Now, there's different ways you can do this. You don't have to climb to the top of the trees. You can do this on the ground. But try to get somewhere close to a tree. Okay, and then the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your settings. Go down to video. Okay, you want to scroll down until you see fancy leaves. When you see fancy leaves, you want to turn this off. Okay, we're going to back out. Now, as soon as you update this chunk, or whatever chunk we're standing in, it will update the adjacent chunk with the leaves. So what we're going to do is just break this grass. You can just break any piece of grass. Okay, you see it updated these leaves here, so they don't look the same as those leaves. Okay, so we know that this is a chunk border right here. Okay, so the edge of this tree is a chunk border. Now, I don't see any leaves on this tree that have changed, and I don't see any leaves on this tree that have changed, okay? That's because it cut off the chunk right here. Okay, now this tree hasn't changed either. So that tells me that I broke in one chunk area right here. Now, if you want to find out where that border is for the next chunk, just come over a little bit, break another piece of grass. Okay, now I don't see anything, right? Now let's come a little closer to these trees over here. Okay, see now it did that. It changed this tree, did not change these trees, but it did change here. Now you see this? This is a chunk border and this is a chunk border. 2 separate chunks right here. Now, we know that this is a chunk border, so we're going to, if you have your coordinates on, it's easier. You can look at your coordinates and say, okay, I'm at negative 624 on one chunk, negative 625 on the other chunk. Now we need to find out where this chunk meets. Okay? Where does it stop? Now to do that, we're going to have to follow these leaves without breaking any of them. Eventually you will come to a point where it updated and where it didn't. That would be here. Okay, when you find that, you know this is a chunk, this is a chunk that's separate. Okay, now you can see the leaves, they changed. They changed here, but they didn't change there. And we know that over here, we've updated the chunk, see? These leaves are the original leaves. These leaves are not. Right here is a corner of 4 chunks. Okay, this is a chunk. This is a chunk. And this is its own chunk down that way. And then that's a chunk down that way. So if you want to mark this corner, you can mark it with whatever block you want. You can grab a piece of cobblestone if you want. Okay, and you can mark it. And you know that this is a chunk going that direction. Okay, now we're going to turn on fancy leaves. I'm going to turn it back on. Okay, we know that this coordinate here is 1520, negative 624. So we're just going to count 16 in that direction. Okay, so let's go up here. Let's update these real quick. Okay, I changed them all back to normal. Now we're going to update this. We're going to count, okay? So we're at 1520, negative 624. So we're going to go up here to make it easier on us. 1520, negative 624. Okay, this is the top of our chunk. We want to count 16 in that direction, or however far you're going. So if you're going in that direction, we're going to use that for an example. So we're going to count here. 1, since this is the corner of our chunk here. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, 16 is how far you'll count, because each chunk is 16 blocks by 16 blocks. Okay, we're going to block out another 16 and go this way to make it simpler so that we're in the open space. So the next chunk, I'm going to use a different block for this. The next chunk will actually start right after this block, so it'll be the 17th block. Okay, so now we're working with this chunk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so this is the corner of our chunk. So we're going to count that way so we can map out a chunk. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so we know that this is a chunk. So if we follow that, we can look at that block there that we placed for this chunk, and that block there, and we know that this is the corner of the chunk. So we just marked out where one chunk is. Now, if you have the shears, and you want, let's say you're way away from a forest, you don't have a forest, and you're over here on the plains, that's okay. Get some shears. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to run shears, or run your leaves, sorry. You're going to run those about 30 leaves long or so. Doesn't have to be too many. Once you have a line of leaves like that, come near the center somewhere and make another line of leaves that come out pretty far. And do this on the other side as well. So you might use a good half a stack or stack of leaves doing this, but you're going to collect them up again. Okay, now that you have them like that, you're going to go and turn off your fancy leaves again. Okay. We're going to come out about 8 blocks or 10 blocks or something from the end of this leaves, and we're going to place one. That's going to update so many of these until you get to this point. Okay. Now we're going to turn fancy leaves back on. I know this is going to go back and forth for you, but I'm just showing you an example. Okay, when I break this, it doesn't change those. Okay, so now I know where that edge of the trunk border is. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Come out a few blocks. We're going to change this back. We're going to turn our fancy leaves back off. And we're going to update it. Okay, and it updated all the way to here. So we know this is the block. And you really don't need to do this for every side. The only reason for all the sides is just in case your chunk border is not in the intersection. Okay, so once you have 2 corners, I know that this is the edge of a chunk border. I know that this is an edge of a chunk border. Now all I have to do is connect these two, just like this. Okay, now that I have those connected, all I have to do is count 16 in that direction from this corner, and 16 in that direction from this corner. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, once you have that, you can eliminate all the rest. Everything in between. We can connect that up there. Because we're getting ready to make a cube. Or not a cube, excuse me, a square. Okay, now we have 3 blocks here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so we know that this is the chunk border. We can eliminate the extra. We can get rid of all this in between so it doesn't confuse you on your chunk. Then you're just going to bring this over and connect it up with the one you've already done here. And now you have your chunk mapped out. It's literally that simple. Okay? thank you guys. I just wanted to show you a couple different variations and ways of doing it. So thanks everyone for coming. I do appreciate that. Thank you for the support. And you guys have a good day. Don't forget, I have a raid farm over there. There's a raid farm video. It's the simplest way to make a raid farm. And it's very simple, man. It really is. I also have a very, very simple Guardian farm that gets 5,000 drops per hour if you guys want to check that out. I'm also doing a Java hardcore series, survive to 600 subscribers. Let's see if we can do that. If we can do that, we may move on farther with it. So maybe I'll see you at Oofcraft stream or a Java hardcore stream or another video. Till then, thanks guys. Bye everybody.